Hey guys, before the episode starts, I'm just going to let you guys know that we had some technical issues and some audio issues a little bit. Nothing too bad, but definitely could have been a lot better. So just know that as the episode goes on, it gets better towards the end. We were able to fix some of them, but we are working on trying to get our setup a lot more smoother for future episodes. So look forward to that. All right, then let's get into the episode.
Like, I'm on the verge of tears. Like, this is sad. Disheartening on so many levels. I mean, children, pregnant women, random women, just things. I mean, think about it.
Oh, you're good.
I'm just ranting. I'm pissed off today.
That's good. That's a good mindset to be in because there's a lot happening. We're going to actually continue our discussion.
Releasing the rage, man. The rage.
Yes. So, yeah, continuing on. Welcome, everyone, to the Convoluted Podcast. Liz is on fire right now. So,
did you see the video on the one about Oprah Winfrey?
There's a lot happening.
It's very relatable.
So we're going to continue our deep dive into kind of the whole Diddy situation because there has been now some
I'm having one of those guys, so hopefully my camera's better. I don't want to be anybody notices.
So yeah, if any of your watchers are checking it, so if you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify, because those are the places you can watch the podcast. If you're just listening, hope our audio is coming out nice and clear. But yeah, we're going to be continuing on with the whole P. Diddy situation.
That's what?
Because
spit it out.
He has finally been properly arrested. And now we're going to be watching a video together to kind of get some of the things. I already went through a little bit of this video, but then just kind of get our thoughts. Have you heard anything since the last time we talked about any of the allegations or some of the stuff that have come out? It seems Liz's audio has cut out for a second.
All the videos I sent you, like the moment we actually finished up everything regarding to P. Diddy. Oh, I'm not even speaking anymore. You can't even hear me. Me?
Okay, so that's an interesting trick. Her audio just got delayed by normally like a milliseconds to maybe even a second. That was like 3 seconds delayed. That's interesting. Even lower. Here, give me a second. This is on the fly. Don't worry, we are trying different methods. I found a different method to do stuff, but we'll be talking about that inside the podcast.
This is great.
For now. Okay, Liz, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Give me 1 second.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, then. So, yeah, there is a different way, but me and Liz will be talking about that outside the podcast. For that, we have different ideas to kind of fix the situation. If you guys listened to our episode 2 weeks ago, it was one of our more hilarious episodes because we had this technical difficulties. I've had some comments from that, but we can't always have those kind of funny episodes when there are some serious things to talk about. Luckily, last week's episode with the whole P. Diddy stuff, it was pretty smooth, surprisingly. We want to continue, at least when talking about some of these serious things and serious allegations, that we are, for the most part, being respectful. as much, and we will joke a little just to kind of levy some of that stuff, because it's kind of hard to talk about these types of some crimes and allegations that are being put in front of us. And sometimes we just kind of have to laugh it off, as humans do. But not to say that we aren't being light on the situation. So do you have any things to say before? How did your audio just cut out, even though we just fixed it?
Nope, I think there's some heavy details. We're going to find more stories. I mean, I think I've been seeing a little bit of it.
We're just going to have to go with it. We're just going to have to go with it for now. So give us 1 second.
I don't know.
Give us 1 second, everyone. Okay, we are back, everyone. So, can you hear me? We are good? Okay. I can't hear you, but you'll probably be lag behind for a few seconds. So if you have something to say, Liz, just wave and I'll keep an eye on you. And I'll pause it so you can put your input so your audio can come out. Sound good? Okay. So this is the Texas attorney, Tony Benzie, announcing the 120 sexual allegations.
My computer hate me.
If your computer might hate you, just because it might be time for an upgrade.
You can't hear me.
I don't know about the computer. It might just be the Wi-Fi. It's sometimes just that. But let's continue. So let's hear what these allegations are.
I can hear you, but you can't hear me.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tony Busby. I'm a lawyer here in Houston. I'm licensed in Texas and in New York, and I'll introduce other members of our team as they speak. As many of you know, our law firm has been at the forefront of some of the most important litigation in the United States. We like the tough cases.
I hope so.
We thrive in the complicated cases. We've handled over the last 25 years some very big and very important cases. I believe that this one may surpass them all. There are many facets to this. The conduct we will describe today occurred over more than 20 years. There are many people and many entities involved. And we're going to follow this evidence wherever it takes us. We will find the silent accomplices. We will expose the enablers who enabled this conduct behind closed doors.
And look,
we will pursue this matter, no matter who the evidence implicates. These brave victims who have stepped forward deserve nothing less.
What, 2 years old?
The biggest secret in the entertainment industry that really wasn't a secret at all has finally been revealed to the world. The wall of silence has now been broken, and victims are coming forward. Our team has had, at this point, more than 3,285 individuals contact us.
3,000 people have contacted them. That just says a lot right there. That says a lot. Mostly when we have 120 like official allegations. That means out of the thousands, they were only able to get 120 with credible proof. That's wild.
With people claiming to have been victimized by Sean Combs. After vetting, we now represent 120 individuals who intend to bring civil claims in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs, as well as claims against many other individuals and entities that we will name as defendants as we file these individual cases. And you should know, to the extent the clients feel comfortable, we also intend to make these individuals available to the authorities, specifically to the FBI. And you should also know a few of them have already been spoken to by the FBI. Now, before we discuss the nature of the claims and claimants themselves, let me comment on the large volume of calls we have received since our first announcement. Even before the indictment of Sean Combs, we had received a small volume of calls and had screened a handful of cases. After the indictment of Sean Combs and the announcement that we were pursuing these claims, the floodgates opened. People who wouldn't otherwise, for a variety of reasons, are now stepping forward to make their voices heard and to pursue justice. But no, most of these people are scared. They fear backlash in their communities. They fear backlash in their own families.
And that makes sense. When it comes to any victimizations, it's hard for the victims to come out, right? It is a hard thing. And you're putting a lot of pressure on those individuals, right? It's one of those things where there's thousands from what just the calls that they got. Can you imagine how many other law firms got more? It just
That's crazy.
so it is probably exponential of what's
That's
out there.
Crazy.
And the thing is, like, there are video evidence, right? Because apparently, like, P. Diddy was recording a lot of this stuff.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
not doing anything.
So it is going to get really wild to see all the other. It's gonna get wild to see all the people get picked out from this this lawsuits. So all right, let's continue.
Wow. But I think as videos come forward too.
Okay.
They are afraid of retaliation from the perpetrators and their associates. They are rightly afraid for their own personal safety. I expect that through this process, many powerful people will be exposed. Many dirty secrets will be revealed. We know what we are potentially up against. And as is always the case in situations like this, when a celebrity is involved, people can be downright mean and nasty. You'd be shocked at the length fans will go, no matter the evidence to the contrary, to defend celebrities they love. I mean, there's a reason for this word fans. They're fanatics. I've personally already been threatened multiple times on social media. When I agreed to pursue this, I expected as much. This isn't my first rodeo. But victims who step forward to have their voices heard should not be subjected to that kind of conduct. They should not be targeted. I want to say this, and I want to be clear about it. Although we are vetting each call as stringently as we can, I always start with a mindset that I believe victims. I believe victims because I understand the tremendous courage it takes to step forward. So if you're watching this, please hear me. If you're out there and you have been victimized, you are not alone. There is a great strength in numbers. You can seek redress. You can obtain justice. We can help you, and we will help you. That being said, as stated, we are vetting every call that we receive. We've had to turn away some. For each, we ask for corroboration. For each, we ask for the identity of witnesses. We also have collected pictures, videos, texts. We check venues, we check dates. We want to corroborate that the claims being made have legitimacy and merit. We have on staff now a former detective from the Major Offenders Unit of Houston Police Department who is helping us vet each claim.
Yeah, they're doing their due diligence, right? They are doing their due diligence with these cases, because it spans decades, right? And a lot of it has passed. What is it called?
Yeah.
The statute of limitations, right? Which is sad to say. You know, it's one of those things where. And then, like we spoke earlier, a lot of the victims are hard spoken to speak because of the potential retaliations that could come from it in a general sense with anything, right? So it is like preposterous to see this flood of people come in and just take them as face value for as much as you still gotta be like put your due diligence and make sure, because even something wrong can screw up an entire case.
Oh, absolutely.
So we'll see what more. Let's see if what else I'll continue.
We're using our common sense. We're being stringent because, as I said, these are not easy cases. They're very tough. The process is hard, and in some cases, the process is very lengthy. These cases are hard to prove. Many times, it's the victim's word against the alleged perpetrator.
Yep, that's how it
Each
is.
of these victims will no doubt be publicly attacked by the alleged perpetrators, and in some cases, the general public. The feckless and cowardly keyboard warriors love to attack.
Ooh, keyboard
We know what we're up
warriors, you gotta love
against. We
them.
did not enter this fray blindly. I wish it was my last such fray. I wish this type of behavior wasn't so pervasive. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So we will press on.
All the videos are gonna come.
As I said, our law firms have been retained by 120 individuals at this point.
And we are
Pursue
part of
cases
it.
in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs. You should know, in this group, it is evenly divided between males and females.
Oh,
There's 60 males and 60 females who have joined us to pursue these claims as plaintiffs. In this group, 62% identify as African American, 30% are white, and the remainder are Hispanic or Asian. The victims are from more than 25 states. The majority are from California, New York, Georgia, and Florida. And I want to focus on the ages of these victims. When we talk about the ages of the victims when the conduct occurred, it's shocking. Our youngest victim at the time of the occurrence was 9 years old. We have an individual who was 14 years old. We have one who was 15. 25 of the 120 individuals who are plaintiffs in these cases were minors at the time.
25. That's out of the 120. That's just out of the 120 they have. Can you imagine how many from the 3,000 they acquired? If it's 1 in 5, basically 1 in 5 of the like cases they took on have been minors. Can you believe that? That just says in the hundreds, man. In the hundreds, potentially, allegedly. We'll just wait for Liz's audio to catch up. But it's one of the things where he mentions like everyone knew of these like Diddy parties and stuff like that and how it got wild, like, but it was never really very like poignant, right? Okay.
Of the acts complained of. The time frame of the acts complained of is very wide. The conduct at issue spans from the years 1991 all the way till this year, 2024. If you wonder why there are so many alleged victims, that's your answer. We're talking about more than 25 years of this type of conduct. Now, although most of the victims who have stepped forward were victimized after 2015, this has been going on for a very long time. Now, when you think about the fact that some of this conduct occurred 25 years ago, and you wonder why would it take somebody so long to step forward, I want to remind you that many states in the United States have recognized that it's very difficult for a victim to step forward and to make these types of allegations when something very terrible has happened to them. I'll use New York, the state of New York, as an example. The state of New York has specific statutes in place that revive claims that are even claims that would typically be not able to be brought, that revive such claims, and they can be brought even 25 to 30 years later. Because there's a recognition there in New York and California and other states that it's very difficult for a victim to come forward. And I would respectfully suggest the only reason many of these people are coming forward because they see other victims coming forward. And it gives them some comfort that, hey, I won't be the only one. And I expect more victims will come forward. You know, there's an old saying that says, a lie has great speed, but truth has endurance. The acts complained of in these cases that we're going to file occurred primarily in New York, either Manhattan or the Hamptons, or occurred in California, primarily in Los Angeles, or in Florida, primarily in Miami. Most of these events and incidents occurred at parties, typically after parties, or album release parties, New Year's Eve parties, 4th of July parties, something they called a puppy party, the all-white party, although several of these events occurred at auditions. Many times, especially young people wanting to break into the industry, were coerced into this type of conduct in the promise of being made a star, or in the promise of
Yeah, you could see that, right? It's one of those things where the entertainment industry, at least the 90s and the 2000s, were who knows who, right? To try to get into that upper echelons unless you broke through, right? It is a lot of people, a lot of parents were trying to get into this industry to make it big. So the idea of some people putting favors is not alien to us, right? We've talked about stories where high ranking individuals use their powers to, or abuse their power to coerce those who are trying to make it. So this is not surprising to us. I think the difference is the scale, right? It's the scale. Okay. We might need to pause for a second and figure this one out.
let them read for Sean Combs. You should know that some of this behavior occurred at well-known venues in New York City. Some of this behavior occurred at private residences of people that we all know. Some of this behavior occurred at hotels that we're all familiar with. You should know that more than 55% of the victims filed reported this conduct to either the authorities, that is the police, or to hospitals. We're in the process of collecting with our team assistants medical records.
Is Michael on?
Reports that were made to the...
Yeah.
I can hear him all the stuff that he's going on his computer room.
Okay. Well, look at the audio. I told him he's loud.
I can hear him, and then I'm hearing that too at the same time. So very distracting.
I know what to do. Yeah. There we go.
The authorities.
I can still hear
And
him.
I've already said that some of the individuals in this group did in fact talk to the FBI. You should know that several of the individuals, and when I say several, I mean many, who did in fact seek medical treatment were drug tested, and drugs were found in their system, weird drugs that you probably never heard of. One in particular that continues to pop up is a drug called xylazine or trank, which...
So do you know what that is?
It sounds very familiar. Like I've heard this before. This is not something unusual. So I'm curious. Is it lagging still?
Okay, you're back.
You're muted now.
You're back. You're back.
Okay.
Are you there?
Here.
All right.
But you mute automatically.
No, I'm pushed to talk right now, so you can hear, so you don't hear my background.
Gotcha. Am I lagging then?
Not that much. Your camera keeps stopping, but that's not too bad.
Okay.
Your audio's coming out good though.
Perfect. That's all we need, right?
Exactly. But anyways, so yeah, there's been a lot. Well, we knew this was gonna happen. There was a lot of substances, potentially a lot of illegal substances. We don't know, right? So one of those things where that's more than likely gonna happen.
Based on our research, is known as a horse tranquilizer. Now,
I knew
there's been a lot of
it.
reports that we're filing a class action. This is not a class action. Class action is when one or two people file a case on behalf of a group of people. That's not this. These cases will be individual cases. Each case will live and die on its own merit. These cases will be filed individually, one plaintiff against whoever the defendants were involved in the case. Each case may be filed in one venue like California, another case may be filed in New York. One case may sue just Sean Combs, but multiple other people. One case may sue a range of people. I would expect most.
What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on them going into multiple cases instead of one full case?
I think if you have multiple cases, you're gonna have options to have more indictments, and more indictments leads to longer times in jail.
I could see that. I could see that. And more so when it's these things where if you're having a whole case and one thing can fall through, then the whole case is thrown out. It's best to catch him on multiple, like, you know, you want to hit him multiple times.
I think you also build a storyline, and you also build it up how it got from point A to point Z, essentially. You building up like a storyline, and also you can see like how it gets from mild per se to like extreme, but also a, what's the word I want to use? Oh God, I like a storyline, like a build-up storyline. I know there's a particular word for it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. That makes sense. You want to build up this case as much as you can while trying to keep everything integral, right? There's just so many things, so many years to go through, and so many people, right? So they that's why they only have 120 cases, right? So that's only have 120, like, ones they were able to credit, right? You know, there's only so much. I think that's best in the situation where they had to pick out these which have the most viability, right? Because if they, like we were saying earlier, if they were able to nitpick, like if they were to choose all thousands of them, which would be, you know, I can only imagine the stories, right? You can only imagine the stories on those. But if they don't have enough credible evidence, then that just makes the whole case falter. And like you said, building up the story of each of these cases, if one fails, then there's multiple cases still to go. And it sounds like there's multiple people or organizations that were also part of this, you know. So let's see what more they have to say.
Most, though, to be filed, as I said, in New York and Los Angeles. Now, I know this. Many of you came here thinking or hoping or perhaps believing that I may start naming names. Well, that day will come, but it won't be today. The day will come when we will name.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to want these names. Those names, this is, I'm going to say this now.
I think they're slowly leaking. I mean, I think they're out there, to tell you the truth.
So I think I feel you can tell me if you agree or not that this is going to be the biggest downfall in Hollywood of all time. Like, of all time.
Absolutely.
Like,
I think it will be a huge downfall and probably a restructure. I think it's going to be a restructure at some point in this downfall.
It's going to be a couple years before that restructure gets back, but it's going to be taking down.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, but it's going to lead to a restructure. We're going to see changes in Hollywood, whether we like it or not. And it's going to, I think it's going to be a good idea, because we all knew Hollywood used to do some devastating things to a lot of actresses and actors alike.
Young and old, yeah.
Yep, young and old. And I still think that it's gotten to the extreme of how they manipulate their power on people. I think it's going to be changing. I feel like this is going to...
It's gonna shake up a lot. It's gonna be devastating for a lot of people, and we've seen it already. A lot of people have been deleting tweets, have been just kind of being pulling away from certain things. So A lot of people have been, and you even sent me some messages too that just like these people, because there's a lot of people know people, and people know people that know people. So a lot of things. It's, you know, as much as we
The network is going to collapse.
and as much as we want names now, I think it's best to have it when there's more credible evidence and stuff like that. All right, let's keep going then.
Names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already. And of course, I already know who some of these individuals are, but because of the nature of this case, we're going to make damn sure that we're right before we do that. But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you. These are individual cases. There are indeed other perpetrators involved. They will be revealed when that particular individual case is ready to be filed. They already know who they are. And I'm talking here about not just the cowardly but complicit bystanders. That is, those people that we know watched this behavior occur and did nothing. But I'm talking about the people that participated, encouraged it, egged it on. They know who they are.
That's the other thing. It's like a lot of the things that were happening here, like, I feel like a lot of the times Diddy made his victim become accomplices to keep them quiet, you know?
Oh, absolutely. It's blackmail. Blackmail. So they may have been forced to play the game because he's already got shit on him with a video. I made you do this. I made you do that. Huh. So if you backfire on me, this is what I'm going to do to you. Yeah. We're going to see huge names come out.
So do you feel these people are, do you still feel these people are at fault, that even though, or like the accomplices,
Yes and
the
no.
watchers? It's a hard
Yes
thing.
and no. Yeah, it's a really hard thing because we're gonna see how he manipulated everybody, but also some of those people had a choice in whether it sucks. It really does. You're caught. It's a catch-22, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, you were put in that situation, then you're continuing to take. The thing is, like, it's hard to even, after a time, it's hard to like fight back, right? Like, there's just too much on you. But I feel like even after then, like, fuck them. You know, you continued to participate. Like, you know, like, even if you were coerced or quote blackmailed allegedly, you're like, you know, fuck you. You know, you're down. You go down too. You know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I call them the facilitators of foul play, willing participants in vile conduct. As we identify them, each will be part of this case as defendants. These defendants will not only include individuals, but would also include corporate entities who ultimately profited off of this culture and behavior. I'm looking at banks, pharmaceutical companies, hotels. We know that many of these individuals were paid cash. We know that many of these individuals involved, whether they were the ones being assaulted and abused, or they're witnessing other people being assaulted and abused and then paid and threatened and told to leave. Typically.
Yes, well, we know one specific case, the whole Casey Hotels incident. Remember, we talked about that whole video that got leaked, where I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just paraphrasing, where Diddy paid $50,000 to the bank to get rid of that tape. Like, there's potentially a lot of money that was spent to keep people quiet. A lot. So
Absolutely.
this is not surprising whatsoever. It's just like, now just more people are going to go down. Companies are going to go down for letting this stuff go. What are your thoughts? Just kind of like knowing more concrete what's been happening in the entertainment business. Like, we've heard it, we talked a little bit about it, but now seeing it more in its like nightmarish way, reality. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. It's scary to think this has been happening for so long, and we're finally seeing the as a lot of people phrase it, as a house of cards collapsing. Basically, we're seeing it. It's falling apart. And it's sad and tragic, and it's people have probably lost some of their lives. I mean, think about it, and this shameful secret they had to hold on to. Some of them may not have been able to show off more of it because they're no longer with us, because they were so afraid, and they unalived themselves for that reason. So,
Ooh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's true. Because even if it's not.
muted.
Yep, sorry, I didn't. The people heard this, but yeah, it's true. I didn't think about it myself of that, because there's, even for quote non-entertainment people, for the quote or normal people, even that happens to the everyday people. I can only imagine the level of that in that business to the people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I didn't think about that. So yeah, let's see what more there is.
Paid 10 grand in cash and told to leave, and then threatened as they were leaving. So in addition to Sean Combs, you should know the defendants in these cases we're going to file will include anyone, of course, who engaged in the assault or exploitation, anyone who participated in such in any way, anyone who encouraged or facilitated this conduct, anyone who was in the room and watched it happen but made no effort to stop it, any venue or venue owner who was aware of what was going on but failed to stop it, any individual or entity who knew about the conduct and benefited from it but did nothing to report it or stop it, and any individual or entity who covered it up or helped cover it up. These people who know who they are should just come forward now. I would imagine.
What are your thoughts on the people they're going after here?
I get it. It's like taking down the ring. Even though you can go after the ringleader, you have to go after the whole ring too. You know?
Yeah, you got to go after the whole circus. You got to go after the whole circus.
Yep, exactly.
All right.
Imagine, as we speak here, there are a myriad of people who are very nervous. You can't hide skeletons in the closet forever. I would expect there are many people out there right now who are desperately searching their memories as they delete their texts and data. Now, although these are, in fact, individual cases, there is a common theme, an MO, if you will. Typically, the victim is lured into a situation where he or she is given a drink. Typically, that drink, reported by these victims, is apparently laced with something. Once that drink takes effect, the perpetrators perform all kinds of sexual acts on the victims, many times passing him or her around as other people watch and enjoy the show, and then leave the victim ashamed, confused, injured, and wondering what happened. When the victim reaches out, he or she is told not to say anything. Sometimes there are threats of physical violence or financial repercussions or bodily harm.
That's wild. And that seems to be like the reoccurring kind of thing that's happening.
I feel like that's the theme of this story, basically. We're gonna see this happening over and over again to the same, or to different people in the same story. It's gonna be, we're gonna see it, repetition, basically, of this, and it's gonna be sad.
Yeah, more so this inability to, there's this monstrous way of zero, like, just abuse. This is literally just major abuse in that sense. Like, just using the individual as an object, basically, for himself and then others. Basically a plaything, right?
And
And
a little toy to play with, and now they have the toy to share with everybody, basically.
And then it seems like it always happened in multiple locations, multiple events, multiple venues, potential, like allegedly. So this is just crazy to see. Where I was telling you earlier last episode, where did you want to see this as a public, like case, kind of like the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing, to kind of get, because that will get the court of public opinion. But I think one of these things, there's been very few, but there's still people, like he mentioned, there are people threatening his life, but there's probably not that many. I don't think there's really many I would say Diddy fans, very few probably, that still believe he's nothing wrong. What are your thoughts when it comes to that? That there are still some people backing up Diddy after all this?
Yeah, I heard about, like, I don't know if I sent you the Insta where this kid, there are school or middle school kids were like, defending Diddy, and it's like it's funny. It's like they don't have all the information, or they don't want to see him as into the bad light. I mean, we all want to have some, like, everybody we want to see as a good person, right?
Sure.
But eventually that dark seed is still, it populates and grows and manifests, and we're gonna see like this explosion of like grotesqueness that of this person, and we're gonna see the whole dirty side of him, even though he tries to shield him out. Oh no, I'm a good guy, I didn't do that,
I think at that point that's fine for any individual. When something comes out, and like say something happened to you, and like something happened, and you said the way I would put it is, if there's one case, one person, like something with you and another individual, like you can only take so much from the victim. You have to wait for both sides. But say it's one, like there's only one accusation, that's okay, you gotta wait for more information. Say there's 2 or 3, okay, something's up. 5 or more, okay, there's definitely something up. And here there's thousands, so more than likely, like 99%, I'll be honest, he is in the wrong. Like as much as
absolutely,
and as much as anyone would want to give him the benefit of the doubt, there is not like near zero, like near zero, like 0.0000001% that he's innocent, right? Like as much as we want to live in a world where like you're innocent until proven guilty, and these cases, like more than likely in all these allegations, he is in the wrong, right? So,
I don't want to have it broadcast to the world, but I feel like because of the victims.
That's why. That's the other thing. Yeah, going back to what I was originally saying, I don't think it's not gonna be able to be publicized just because of the contents of the allegations. I think it's gonna be too
graphic.
That's the word, graphic. So, which is that's good and bad at the same time, because people are going to want to know what's going to happen, like what happens, kind of like the whole like remember when it was reported that Amber Heard shit on the bed. Everyone still memes on that, but definitely there are some of these cases are just going to be sad stories of people who are trying to make it in the industry, and were used and abused and continued in that, and it's just going to be story upon story. And I don't know, I've been so desensitized with the internet that I could probably follow it, but I don't know how you would feel hearing story upon story like that, Liz. Mostly just these 120.
I don't know if I could hear the horrifying story repetitiously. I mean, that is I don't know if I could handle all that grotesqueness. I mean, I would feel so much for the victims, and then be just like horrified for them, and feel their pain and anxiety and all that shenanigans. I mean, it's disheartening. It's it's disgusting, and I don't know if I could even sit through that. I'll probably hear one story and not bawl, but mentally I would bawl for that person. It would be a toll mentally on me.
Emotional
damage. I think you would eventually, after hearing like 2 or 3 of those, mostly when they were involved minors. I feel you would. I think even I would.
I would feel sick to my stomach hearing that to a minor. That happened to a minor.
So, all right, let's continue and see. Now they're going after everyone, like you said, the whole circus.
The claims we intend to bring will include the following: violent sexual assault or rape, sexual abuse, facilitated sex with a controlled substance, false imprisonment, compelling prostitution, sexual misconduct, dissemination of video recordings, false imprisonment, sexual abuse of minors. Given the large volume of cases and given our other docket obligations, and given the fact that we want to be sure when we file these cases that they are fully vetted, I expect we'll start filing these cases against Sean Combs and other perpetrators within the next 30 days. Now, it's rare, sexual abuse, sexual exploitation, this type of activity is pervasive in our society, and it's rare we get a chance where we can really focus on this as a country and really focus on this about how pervasive this is and what we as collectively can do about it. So I thought I'd take this opportunity before I go into some of the individual cases and talk about some of the individual claims being made and so you'll get a sense of what.
Ooh, wow. They're going to get into some of these cases, Liz. Are you ready for that?
I don't know. As ready as I'm going to ever be, I guess.
All right, it's going to be a few, so let's see. I only heard like the first one, so I didn't go, I only skimmed a little bit of this. So be ready. So just let me know if you have something to say about any of the specific cases that I'll be mentioning. I don't think he's going to go over a whole 120, right? We're already halfway through the video. He's probably going to go over a few.
Mm-hmm.
So just let me know if they have something to say, anything specific, and to chime in.
I'll raise my hand.
What this 120 people group looks like individually. I want to bring forward Carrie Paul. She's a national victim advocate who helps victims who have been victimized by this type of conduct. And she has some important words, and I hope you'll pay close attention. I think it's important that you hear from her.
Hello, I'm Carrie Paul with the National Victim Advocate. It's not easy for any survivor to come forward. Our culture doesn't believe survivors. It blames and questions them. Instead of showing support, many choose to enable abusers. The media runs stories asking why it took so long for survivors to come forward, instead of asking what barriers exist. We also don't equip law enforcement with the ability to handle sexual assault crimes. Lack of funding translates to lack of training. We have officers.
Okay, I remember I kind of skipped her thing. All she's explaining is kind of what her organization does for victims and stuff like that. And I hope anyone listening doesn't need me to kind of reiterate kind of what her. It's hard for victims to come out, and luckily there's organizations that help with that. So that's kind of what she goes over. Do you want me to let her speak, Liz, or do you think everyone's kind of hopefully has some semblance of what she's saying, right?
Didn't even hear a thing you said. Okay.
Thank you.
I want you now to hear from my co-counsel, Andrew Van Arsdale. We've created a sexual abuse hotline, and I want him to visit with us just a few moments about how that works and the kind of volume of calls we've received.
Yeah, so that's kind of useful for anyone needing for information.
Please put on your mic.
Sorry, but yeah, hopefully that's just more. He's just more information about being able to give information, right? Okay, where is he?
Hotline, basically.
Disclosing the victim's name. You probably know that depending on the age of the victim, you can file these individual cases, under Jane Doe or John Doe. Each state is different in that respect. Typically, there is a balancing test, like the public's right to know the name of the.
Also, for anyone who wants to, we'll have the link of the video down in the description if you really want to go over everything. Definitely, there's a lot in this video that we kind of just skip through. We don't have all day, mostly with the technical difficulties, right? So.
All right, guys, I apologize so badly on this. I don't know what's up.
So we're just kind of going through all the things that this law firm, this individual Definitely, this guy needs to be in protective services because, talk like so many assassination attempts have been happening in the last couple months, man. And mostly for a high-profile figure, this man has to be protected at all costs.
Yeah, if you want to get this case solved and taken care
The victim
of,
and plaintiff versus
absolutely.
The confidentiality and the safety of the plaintiff. So we'll have to struggle with that with each one of these cases. Our intention, of course, is to, like we always do, file these cases under a pseudonym until the court tells us otherwise. But let me share with you a few just kind of give you a sense of the kind of cases and the kind of instances that people are calling and reporting that we are trying to corroborate, vet, and these are the ones that we've already corroborated, vetted, and collected evidence on. One individual who was 22 years at the time she was assaulted said that the typical MO at one of these parties that have been widely discussed in the press was that when you were handed a drink, and now we know that the drink is laced with something, if you refused to drink it, you were kicked out of the party. Now, let that sink in for a minute. I mean, the admission to this party was that you had to drink the chosen drink that was handed to you, and now we know that in most cases, I would say 90% of the cases, these individuals were drugged with some sort of drug. That was kind of the MO. Another instance, this individual who was 9 years old at the time was taken to an audition in New York City with Bad Boy Records. Other boys were there to audition as well. All of them were trying to land a record deal. All of them were minors. This individual was sexually abused, allegedly by Sean Combs and several other people at the studio in the promise to both his parents and to him himself of getting a record deal. Another instance, another minor, told allegedly by Sean Combs that he would make him a star, but he needed to visit with him in private about it, away from his parents. Once they were in a private area, allegedly Mr. Combs made the victim perform oral sex upon him. Another incident, an individual 15 years old at the time, flown to New York City to attend a party, was drugged, and then taken into a private room, allegedly in the presence of Mr. Combs, where this female individual minor was raped, and then other individuals took turns raping her. Another individual, 26.
Okay, what are your thoughts so far? Just these initial cases.
I mean, he's saying they're all validated, so
Well, they have enough credits to be valid. They have to put into probably if they get that's the other thing. It's like the courts. It's a whole nother thing, right? So you can only these are the ones these 120 are the only ones they were able to it takes a lot of manpower too, right? So they only had enough power. So these are the more critically ones that they were able to get. But yeah, just hearing them, like, how are you feeling like on any of these?
This is grotesque. This is going to be a gross one. I don't know if I can be able to tolerate all of this. This is absolutely sad.
How are you feeling as a parent hearing these things where parents like took their children to these auditions?
I am nothing but protective of my kid, and this was happening to my kid. I totally believe him, and I pull him right out of it,
At the time of the occurrence, was picked up allegedly by Mr. Combs and several other people in a black SUV from the airport, was given one drink in the SUV, and then literally woke up the next day not knowing what had happened, but with pain and damage to both her vagina and her anus, where she then went to the hospital. She was missing her underwear and her shoes. Another instance, an individual, this time not a minor, attended a group dinner, allegedly with Sean Combs in Miami. She wasn't drinking because she was pregnant, but whatever she drank at the table, apparently, at least according to her, was laced with something. She blacked out, and she woke up in the same bed, again, allegedly, with Mr. Combs in his mansion in Miami. Her vagina and her anus were torn and sore.
No one was safe. No one was safe.
Not even the pregnant people. Oh my God. Horribleness of that. What if she was even releasing another egg at that time? Because this things happen. She could have been pregnant with his baby.
I don't think he cared about that, Liz. I don't think he cared about that.
I don't care, but I mean, like, still, I mean, it would have literally solidify his guilt.
There's probably a lot of other instances, but remember the power he had. He would not say anything.
I know.
Like, as much as like we're
trying, was safe.
Yeah, you're trying to put normal people common sense, and it doesn't work in this like high industry stuff.
I know, just sad.
I could go on. I mean, literally, you're sensing a theme here. It's the same theme, and it all involves some sort of drug. One instance, an individual who was 20 years old at the time was asked to attend, just saw her on the street, asked to attend a party in a hotel. She was flattered, went to the party, was given one drink and doesn't remember anything else. Ultimately, was so messed up, went to the hospital where they found cocaine and this horse tranquilizer in her blood system. I'm going to give you a quote from a very young man who told us over the phone about his experience and all the things that happened to him. He says allegedly at the hands of Sean Diddy Combs and his friends in the effort to try to sign a record deal. This was kind of what he was told he would have to do. His quote is, "Had he not been in power, I feel like I could have been something great. I quit the industry because of what Sean Combs did to me." And that's really what it comes down to.
He quit his dream because of what another individual did to them. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Let that sink in, everyone. Isn't that crazy?
It is. It's absolutely crazy.
Like when someone holds
dreams are so crushed every day, and the king of the power basically destroys it.
Basically. So
we are pursuing this, asking you to support this effort, to encourage witnesses and victims to come forward and bring your evidence so we can continue to break down this wall of silence and we can continue to have these stories heard. This is the beginning of what I hope to be a national dialogue. This type of sexual assault, sexual abuse, and sexual exploitation should never happen in the United States or anywhere else. This should have never been allowed to go on for so long. This conduct has created a mass of individuals who are injured, scared, and scarred. If you are one of those individuals, we ask you to reach out. If not to us, to someone you trust. If you are someone who witnessed any of these events, we ask you to reach out. Your name can remain confidential. With that, I'll take a few questions, not many.
okay. We kind of get the gist of this. So give us a second, everyone. So how are you feeling on all this stuff right now?
I'm on the verge of tears. Like, this is sad, disheartening on so many levels. I mean, children, pregnant women, random women, just things. I mean, think about it. As we like to all say, that a lot of the stuff that we absorb in our lifetime, drugs and stuff like that, it still has residue, and that residue is still there. So, testing hair, blood, skin samples, it's all there, and it's going to be proof that what they were tranquilized exist. So
yeah, just hearing the initial allegations being put out, it's tough to hear. So you're right to say that having a public hearings on all this would be extremely difficult to portray to the public, and as much as people would want to have that be a spectacle, it's going to be hard for the individuals, mostly when their names are going to be coming out because of what they've done. And like I said earlier, this is going to be the downfall of Hollywood in a major way. It might be not the complete downfall, but it's going to be a big one, and a lot of people are going to go down. A ton of people are going to go down.
Oh yeah, a ton of people are going to go down, and then we're going to have a restructure, bylaws, laws of some sort of. There's going to be some new rules and just like things that are going to be kind of put into place, and hopefully they stick and they last.
Yeah, this has been happening for decades. Like as long as Hollywood had been a thing, it's been happening, right? It's always been a thing, and it's been the silent truth, right, in the background. And things sometimes, were prosecuted, but then some other figurehead took over, or things get paid off, money gets passed around, and the only ones who really suffer are the victims at the end of the day, right? So we'll see. We'll talk off screen to see if we want to continue with this, because definitely this is going to be the biggest story. It's been our biggest story so far as episodes, as Liz has just saw a little bit ago. If you guys want us to keep talking about it, let us know. We'll see. Liz might need a couple more drinks if we're going to be talking more about this, because definitely it's going to be a tough one.
I'll have to do like an evening session so I can drink so I feel comfortable.
So everyone, thank you for listening. I think we're going to end it there. We are sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm glad
I apologize. Truly.
We'll figure out. There's something I found that might make it easier. And I don't think we'll have time today for a bonus episode, but that's fine. I think this is a very strong episode just on its own. I'm glad you stayed. Let people know about this show. Keep in touch in all the stuff, all the news. All this weird stuff, because definitely, as much as it is an odd thing, it's a real thing. So, Liz, take us out.
And thank you for listening to the Convoluted Podcast. I'm the host, Liz, and this is Jesus. And thank you, and hopefully they see you next time.
Anything aboard after 93 can't cook. All they know is McDonald's charge their phony hot chip and lie.